Welcome to my creative carnivore kitchen. I am in Phnom, Thailand right now, but this video is about carnivore in Singapore. Here, my other channel, Aline's Adventures, all about my nomad life. So this is a video that I posted there, but it's carnivore, so you get to see it too. I was so overjoyed when I read that Singapore's tap water is super clean and you can drink it. I was so overjoyed. But when I read more infos about it, that enthusiasm disappeared quickly. Unfortunately, they put fluoride into the tap water, 0.5 milligrams per liter. Paul and I both think fluoride is one of those poisons that not even a little small amount is beneficial or good for you. So more about the fluoride in the water, in the tap water of Singapore, here in the video similarities and differences between Singapore and Switzerland. Well, we stayed in Singapore from June 20th until August 2nd, 2025. 43 days. And unfortunately, even by heating up the water, by boiling the water, you can't kill the fluoride. But we decided, okay, for this time, we're still gonna drink the tap water. Because also bottled water is not cheap in Singapore. But if we would have stayed there for a longer time, if we would live there, or even if we would have stayed there 3 months, I think we would have said no, at least half of that time, we would have switched to bottled water. Unfortunately, raw milk is illegal in Singapore, but raw milk cheese and other products are okay though. So for the last 4 months, I could enjoy raw milk in Thailand and in Malaysia, and it was so delicious and I love it so much. I miss it when I don't have it, but it's totally okay if I don't get it for a while. Meat and seafood is expensive in Singapore, but it is cheaper at open markets. Well, actually, it depends. We also got some super crazy great deals at a Giant Express, a little version of the big grocery store Giant. And there we got some meat and seafood for 50% off, a piece of salmon, pork neck steaks, and ground pork, all 50% off. Well, because the expiration date was on the same day. So, but I don't care, I just eat it right away or I freeze it. So here are some examples with 50% off. The prices got to 780 Singaporean dollars, $6.09 US per kilo for ground pork, 2045 Singaporean dollars, $15.96 US dollars per kilo for Tasmanian salmon, and $6.75 Singaporean dollars, $5.27 USA dollars per kilo for pork neck steaks. Super affordable. But yes, of course, you don't get always stuff 50% off. That's how I actually always went shopping back in Reno, Nevada, the USA. We usually went to Winko and I bought whatever was 20, 30, 40, 50% off. I think mostly it was like 20% off. But I only bought whatever was off and then I just froze it. So our freezers were full of great, amazing meat, all 20, 30, 40, 50% off. One of my favorite ways to do shopping. Paul mostly ate takeaway food also so we wouldn't spend that much money. Here in the video, traditional foods in Singapore, more about that. I love wet markets, but I don't like it that I can't take it out myself. Yeah, of course you can point at it exactly what you want, but still, so like for example, there's a bin full of cubed meats. I want to choose exactly the ones I want and not just get some. I want this one and this one and that one. Well, I actually did that with the shrimp. I asked if I could take it out myself because I saw other people doing it as well and it was okay. But at the halal section, you can't take stuff out yourself because, well, it makes sense. Everything has to be super clean because it's halal. Otherwise, it's not halal anymore. Halal means basically safe for Muslims. Muslims are not allowed to eat pork and are also not allowed to come in contact with pork. Not just non-pork is halal. Also, I think there are all kinds of rules, but halal has to be super clean. So, of course, it makes sense that they won't let other people just take it out themselves because they never know. Maybe I just ate pork and yeah. Also, you basically have to buy a half kilo or a kilo or 1.5, 2 kilos, like so on. And most times, I don't fucking care about the kilograms, about the weight. I sometimes just want 5 shrimp or 6 of that, or just what I see, this whole piece. And I don't fucking care how much it weighs, but they don't like doing math, apparently. So they want you to get like, yeah, half kilo, 1 kilo, 1.5 kilos, so it's easy for them. Also, not much is labeled. Best example for the fish. There are so many different kinds of fish, and I always want to know which kind of fish I eat. Most of them speak broken English, but it's not always very understandable. But I managed pretty well. I guess I just had to get used to it, to interact with people, to ask people, to tell them exactly what I want, to say no. I just had to get used to that, and then it was really cool. I liked it. Also really cool, when I bought a fish, I got a bag of ice with it to keep it cool. But my biggest problem is meat and seafood only get sold in the morning, of course. But I'm not a morning person at all. Even if I'm awake around 8 a.m., I am not a morning person. I am grumpy. And I love my morning routine. So I like to do my hip stretches, to do some reading, to do Duolingo while still laying in bed. I'm done between 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Way too late to go to an open market for meat and seafood. The ground beef, unfortunately, wasn't very tasty. A lot of silver skin in it, and it was super lean. But the ground pork was super tasty, though. It wasn't that fatty either, but it was very tasty, and I actually prefer not too fatty ground meats. Eggs are totally affordable in Singapore. I found flats of eggs. One flat has 30 eggs for around 6 to 7 Singaporean dollars, $4.70 to $5.49 US dollars. But don't buy eggs at the hawker markets. They are usually not cheaper anyways, but once at the Chinese hawker stand, I saw a really cheap flat of eggs, and I wanted to grab one, and there was something mushy. I could feel something weird mushy on my hands. And so I checked, and live maggots. So fucking gross. Oh my gosh, you should have seen me. I was like, ugh, it was so gross. I had to clean my hands, and yeah, and those are not the maggots I like to eat. Like the ones I got in Thailand. Here is the video, traditional foods in Thailand. There I got delicious silkworms and sago groups, frozen in a bag, raw, made for eating. I love those, but not live maggots eating their way into the eggs, and I touched them, and ew. Never ever buy eggs at the open markets, at the hawker stands. Not just at hawker markets, also at the grocery store, they sold whole chickens with head and feet. I love it. And they were even cheaper at the grocery store. I so love this. You get a whole chicken here. And with whole chicken, I mean a real whole chicken. So with the head, I love the head. It's so good. Here, the calm and this here, this delicacy, it's so good. And yeah, no clipped wings. And I'm not going to take them out right now because they did that so nicely. The feet are also still attached. So yeah, you don't have to truss a chicken when you have a really whole chicken, because yeah, this is all nicely tucked in. Well, yeah, here, but yeah, I just love that. Well, except they took out all the organs. They didn't give it to me with the organs, but I could buy organs there. I did buy gizzards here. So I like chicken gizzards. I bought these. So on Facebook, I saw a reel where they put the whole chicken in the oven, but whole chicken without the head, without the feet. So, and they put the end of the drumsticks through the grill and then put it high up, and then let the chicken hang in the oven. And that looked so cool. I was like, oh, I want to try that as well. But my chicken still had its head, still had its feet. So it was much longer. And that oven in Singapore I was using, it had to put in the grill, like in the upper half, there was just one where I could put it in on the very top. I couldn't have done that because of the feet. They would have burned, or it wouldn't even have fit. And then there were a lot, and then there was a lot of space where there are no things to put the grill in, so I had to put it much lower, and mine wasn't really completely hanging, but it still worked, and it worked greatly. I loved it because the chicken feet, because they were so high up, they got totally crispy, and I could eat the little bones in the feet that are usually just so annoying to take out, and I could even eat some of the bigger bones in the feet, and the rest of the chicken was juicy and nicely done, so I loved it. It was really great. I was so disappointed when the big fair price grocery store didn't have liquid egg whites. Already when we were still in Malaysia, I looked it up online, and I saw that fair price has liquid egg whites. And I even asked at the store, I showed them a picture, hey, I would like to buy this, where is this? And you can only get it online. So I was so disappointed. But they had a very nice fish selection, and I also found sea cucumbers. I was so overjoyed when I found them. Unfortunately, only frozen and not fresh, but still super cool. Never had them before. Totally need to try them. And I found a cool Chinese recipe, super interesting one I wanted to try. So I bought them and I made that recipe. Of course, I changed it to 100% carnivore here for my other channel, Creative Carnivore Kitchen. And that recipe will air sometime much later. At the fair price, I found frozen 500-gram packages of ground pork. I really don't remember the price, but it was cheap. It was like, oh yeah, that's a good price. So we bought 3 packages. But unfortunately, after cooking it, Paul and I both, we got super bloated and pains. So we're like, no, we're never gonna buy those again anymore. So, but at the hawker, they actually had really nice, delicious ground pork. Sometimes it was fattier, sometimes it was leaner, but it was really delicious. It was a bit more expensive, but hey, at least we didn't get any pains and no problems, no issues from it. And the ground pork at the hawker markets cost 12 Singaporean dollars per kilo. That is $9.37 per kilo US dollars. Shrimp we also got from the hawker markets, the open markets, but from the halal section. There they were the cheapest in the halal section. 10 Singaporean dollars, $7.81 US dollars per kilo. And they looked and tasted beautifully big and juicy. They also had open fresh shrimp at Giant Express for I think like 10 cents cheaper per kilo. They were nice and tasty as well, but not as big and juicy as the ones from the halal section. Oh, and I'm pretty sure later on we found even cheaper shrimp at the halal section for 9 and even 8 Singaporean dollars per kilo. But of course those were smaller, so not as big, not as juicy. But I think I got some from the 9, I don't remember, but I think I also got some cheaper ones and they were good too, but the $10 ones were the best. The $10 ones I feel like are the best, how do you say, like the best ratio of deliciousness and price. You know what I mean? I'm sure there are shrimp they're much more delicious, but they're too expensive. And as mentioned, there are some they are cheaper, but they're not as good anymore. So the $10 ones were like perfect, I felt. So that Chinese recipe I mentioned earlier with the sea cucumbers also contained other like rather special ingredients, all carnivore, but special ingredients. And I found them in Chinatown in Singapore. So more about those ingredients in this video here. Later on, I figured out all those ingredients I could have also bought in basically any traditional Chinese medicine shop. They were at the hawker markets, they were at the malls, so they basically like everywhere. So I could have bought those ingredients anywhere else as well, but it was still cool that I got them from Chinatown. I love getting infos, especially from locals, but also anyone else about traditional foods from all different kinds of countries. So if you know anything about Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Indonesia, South Korea, Japan, anywhere in South and Central America, anything you think I should try, I should look up, or Paul should try, please let me know down in the comments. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay curious.